Welcome to the Vandal Insider Podcast, presented by Inland Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine Clinic of Moscow and Pullman. Let the team that takes care of the Vandals take care of you. Get the latest information on University of Idaho athletics you won't find anywhere else. It's all here on the Vandal Insider Podcast, every fan source for all things Idaho athletics. Here's your host, Dennis Patchin.
Welcome to another edition of the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast. Coming up today, we'll hear from head coach Thomas Ford Jr. and safety Hayden John about the first win of the season against St. Thomas, and we'll look ahead to Saturday's home game against Utah Tech. Speaking of the Kibbie Dome, Jerek Wolcott, Assistant Athletic Director for Brand Engagement and Digital Strategy, will sit down to talk about Saturday's 50th anniversary celebration of the Kibbie Dome. And Calli Chiarelli from women's soccer will join us. The Vandals hit the road for a pair of non-conference matches this weekend. And Julia Goodson, the new women's golf coach for the Vandals, will join us to talk about her team and the season opener in less than a week. The Idaho Vandals won their first game of the year this past Saturday as they hung on for a 37-30 win over St. Thomas. Not only was it the first Vandal win of the season, it was quarterback Joshua Wood's first win as the starter. And what a game it was for him. Cox in the backfield to the right of Wood. Pistol formation behind him. It's a power pistol, if you will. Is Thomas. Play fake to Thomas. They're going to throw it to Cox. Jake Cox into the end zone. What a catch. Cox caught it with one hand. It was a little off the mark. Touchdown, Idaho. So third down, call it 3. Vandals get a first down at the 18, at the 21. Wood takes the snap. Looks in the middle of the field, fires to the end zone's got a man, sliding catch. Did he hang on? Tony Harsty, touchdown, Idaho! Running back to the right of Wood, play fake. Wood steps up, deep ball, got a man wide open. Touchdown, Idaho! Oh, he stepped into that ball for a 41 touch-yard pass, and it's Ryan Jezero with his first touchdown catch for the Vandals, and that could be a backbreaker. 3 touchdown passes in the win, but the final touchdown came with his legs and sealed the victory. Pickup of a yard, 2nd and 9. Wood pulls it out. Joshua Wood's going to run for it. Wood to the 50, to the 40, to the 30. He's going to take it to the house. Touchdown, Idaho! The play fake, he got to the corner, and 59 yards later, see ya! The Wood we saw on Sunday is the Wood the Vandals have seen since he got to campus.
Kind of showed, I think, our fans who he is as a player. He doesn't get too rattled. I think last week was a bit of emotional game for him versus Washington State, but you kind of see the guy that we've seen since he arrived on campus. Very composed, very calm.
For his performance in the win over St. Thomas, Wood was named the Big Sky Offensive Player of the Week. Certainly won't be the last time he wins that award. It was also the first win, not only at Idaho for head coach Thomas Ford Jr., it was his first as a Division I coach.
Hard to enjoy it at the right after the game, just because I felt like we needed to get so much better. But, when it set in and really talking to the players after the game, it was awesome. Just to have that first win is huge, right? You can't get 2 wins without getting 1. So I think getting that monkey off our back early in the season is good and definitely a positive thing to move forward.
And while the win was nice, it was far from perfect. Ford knows his team has some things they need to clean up.
Some uncharacteristic things from this group that we hadn't seen in fall camp in week 1, but I'm glad that we got them on tape and we're able to learn from this and not take the L as well.
And the Vandals will need to improve this week before they play Game 3, as they will have their hands full with a good Utah Tech team.
There's no question there'll be a challenge. That's a well-coached group. Lance Anderson is a guy that has done it at a high level. He was at Stanford as a defensive coordinator for a really long time. And I've got a chance to know Coach Anderson over the years. Used to work their camps back when I was at University of Puget Sound and Simon Fraser. And what I do know is they're going to be disciplined and they're going to fly around defensively. Offensively, and they're pretty exciting. They're a tempo type team. They like to get going, get guys on the line of scrimmage. I think you'll see some misdirection, quarterback run. I think you're going to see some different personnel groupings. I mean, they're from anything from 10 to 13 personnel. So I think they'll definitely pose some challenges, right? They're a good football team.
Vandals back in the Dome Saturday as we celebrate 50 years in the Kibbie Dome. Our coverage will start at noon Pacific, 1 o'clock Mountain Time of the pregame show. Kickoff 1 hour later, 1 o'clock Pacific, 2 o'clock Mountain Time on the Idaho Vandals Radio Network. The Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast is presented by Inland Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine Clinic of Moscow and Pullman. As the Vandals team physician, orthopedic surgeon Dr. Matt Taylor cares for elite athletes, weekend warriors, and everyone in between. Let the team that takes care of the Vandals take care of you. Welcome back to the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast. We are now joined by safety Hayden John from the Idaho Vandals football team. Hayden, thanks for being here. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Let's talk a little bit about the first two games of the season. As a starter now, what'd you learn about yourself?
This experience is it's really good experience starting and getting to finally play after being here for 2 years, not really seeing the field that much. So playing, you just gain the most experience, and I'm learning more as we play each game, and I'm excited for the rest of the season.
Obviously, being a player as you were in high school, playing a lot, and then coming here and not playing much, if at all, how hard was that transition of trying to figure out how to get on the field and maybe even to a point that, you knew they were going to redshirt you, they wanted to keep you for one more year? How did that all play out?
I think it's hard for every college player going from high school to college. There's certain things you need to learn, going on to a new team and becoming a underclassman again after being one of the key players on your high school team. So I think I came into college, I had great veterans in front of me like Tommy McCormick, so learning from him as much as I could, being an underclassman, and then finally starting to see the field, just trying to emulate his game and pick up things that he was doing on the field.
I got to believe that as a young player, keeping that positive attitude has to be the most important thing in your development, because you want to play, but the opportunities just aren't there. And obviously, with a guy like Tommy in front of you, you kind of know that, right?
Yep. So going into it, I was just trying to learn as much as I could from him, pick up the new speed of the college game, and really just try and break that barrier of being a freshman and learning this new college ball, because it is a completely different game. It's a lot faster. You got to play a lot harder, I feel like. So that was my main emphasis coming in as a freshman.
Let's talk a little bit about your high school career. I know you were a two-way player at Anacortes. You were a receiver and a defensive back. Were you a receiver who played defensive back, or were you a defensive back who played receiver?
In Anacortes, we had a really good defense, so I wasn't really making a bunch of tackles or anything. So my role on the Seahawks was really scoring touchdowns and getting the offense moving. So coming here, I knew that I had to make some strides as a safety, coming down and tackling and stuff that I wasn't doing a lot in high school.
Yeah, I mean, what obviously being more of a receiver than a defensive back, and now you're changing positions, was that a hard transition?
I feel like my receiver game really played into my DB game, just because being a receiver, I had really good ball skills, attacking the ball, and then all I had to do was come here and learn how to play physical defense and tackle in the box. So,
were you a physical receiver? I mean, was that physicality easy to transfer because that's the way you played, even though you played offense?
Yeah, and then Coach Coop and Coach Heim did a great job in the weight room getting my body prepared for the season and putting a couple pounds on me. So
I mean, that's the thing that fans don't think about, is all the work you put in, and certainly how much better a football player you can be by not touching a football but lifting weights and doing all of those kind of things. How difficult was that, or was that an easy transition for you once you got to college to incorporate all of that other than just practicing and playing?
I mean, it's definitely not easy. Football's a full-time job. We're working out year-round, putting in a lot of hours that people don't see. So it's definitely really hard work, but it's definitely worth it. It's changed my body. It's changed how I play the game, and just trying to work as hard as I can in the off-season to get fully prepared for the season.
Let's talk a little bit about last year. A really great season for the Vandals. Obviously, the 2 seasons that you've been here have been great in the postseason and the playoffs, but you got hurt last year. didn't finish. You only played in 5 games last year. How hard was that to get hurt and then sit on the sidelines and kind of watch what was going on?
It's always hard as a college athlete battling with injuries and stuff. It was hard mentally, just because you put so much work in the off season and you don't get any reward for it during the season. So I just tried to stay as positive as I could. I knew that my time would come eventually, and just really tried to soak up as much knowledge as I could from all the coaches and all the players from last year, so I'd come into this season ready to go.
Yeah, when you transition into this season, there's a new coaching staff, but there's also an opportunity where Tommy is gone. And did you look at it like, okay, it's my turn and that's my spot and here we go?
Yep. That was definitely my mindset going into this season. In December, I knew that I'd have to make strides as a player, as a captain, and with the new coaching staff coming in, I tried to get into a bigger leadership role, and I knew that it was my time to go.
Let's talk a little bit about the number change. You changed to number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I just thought that, I just needed a different way to represent myself.
Okay.
Coming in. I knew I was hurt last season, so you guys didn't really get to see me much as number 19, but I just wanted to change my ways on the field and really rock out with 1.
Was that as much as an important thing for you to mentally change by putting a different number on? Did that help you in that transition from getting past the injury, getting past being a backup to being a starter?
I think I'm going to play good regardless, no matter what number's on my chest, but going from 19 to 1 just really solidifying myself as a dude on this team, because
I love that line. Okay, so this is just kind of, and I'm sure that you're going to roll your eyes when I say this, but how many people in your lifetime have called you John Hayden?
A lot. They actually called me John Hayden at my high school graduation. My mom was pretty upset about that, but I don't really mind it. I know I have 2 first names, so it's going to get mixed up.
Wait a second. You went to school. When did you start going to school in the Anacortes school system? What grade? 6th grade. Okay.
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and they got you backwards?
Yeah, I was there for 6 years, and they messed up my name at the graduation.
Oh man, yeah. Do you got any younger brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I do. I have a younger brother, Chad, and then a younger sister, Olivia.
So hopefully they don't – well, your sister's clear. They're not going to call her John Olivia. Yeah. But hopefully they don't call him John Chad, right?
Nope, I hope not.
That's brutal. Wow. All right, let's talk a little bit about the University of Idaho. How did you wind up here?
So in high school, Coach Ford actually recruited me here. He was my main connect here, and I'm really glad that he saw me as a high school player. He saw my talent, and I love Coach Ford, so that's one of the main reasons why I came here. Okay,
but then he left.
Mm-hmm.
How was that for you?
He wasn't my position coach in college, but he was like one of my main dudes on the team, like one of my closest coaches. So him leaving, I kind of just left. He kind of just left, and I went to not having one of those close coaches on the coaching staff.
Okay, so I mean, obviously, when the coaching changes mains, there's an opportunity for guys to transfer, guys to look at it. Did you think about transferring, and how fast did you say I'm all back in when Coach Ford came?
When I heard Coach Ford was coming back, I knew I was all in with him, just because of our relationship, recruiting me here out of high school, and I knew that with him on the coaching staff that we'd have a good chance to be a good team. So I knew that like all the standards that we had before were going to stay when he came into the leadership role.
You really had a high GPA in high school as an academic standout as well as an athletic standout in Anacortes High School. So what are you majoring in, and has that helped you, being a good student, has that helped you kind of prioritize what you need to do to get both football and academics done here?
Mm-hmm. So I'm majoring in athletic training. I want to become a strength coach after I graduate and I'm done with my football career. And Coach Eck used to have a saying, a championship behavior. So, like, all the things you do off the field is how you do them on the field. So I really try to, set my standard off the field of doing everything right, making sure my grades are done. I'm showing up to classes and just keeping my GPA as high as possible, too.
Yeah, I mean, strength coaches are a little crazy. I don't. You seem like a normal kid. Are you a little crazy? Is that your area, or do you have to learn to be the crazy strength coach?
The strength coaches definitely have to get something out of you that isn't there, and I don't know. I feel like I can change my mindset a little bit once I get there. We'll see in the future how I am.
What do you think it is about the weight room that you like? That you want at some point it to be your career?
I just like the weight room culture, and I like to see the progress of me and all my teammates, like the way we work hard in the weight room together and then break bread on the field. So
yeah, can you see the changes? Not necessarily in yourself, because you see yourself every day, but like your teammates?
Yeah, for sure. Like we all work really hard in there. We're always pushing each other, and it shows on the field for sure. It shows off the field.
This is a program that has had great success the last 3 years, last 2 seasons, getting into the final 8. I mean, what's the expectation for you and this team this season with 2 games under the books and 10 still to go before the playoffs?
We're really just attacking each week with the mindset that each game is a playoff game. You got to go 1-0 this week, and you got to win enough games to make the playoffs. So we're really just focusing on this week, this game, this Saturday, and putting all our effort towards that.
Did you like being a fighting tater last week?
I did. I like the branding. I like the way our media team is pushing out and representing us. So
I thought it was pretty cool, too. Hayden, we appreciate it. Thanks for being on the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast. Continued success. Good luck on Saturday, and we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast is presented by Inland Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine Clinic of Moscow and Pullman. When he's not caring for the Vandals as team physician, orthopedic surgeon Dr. Matt Taylor provides the same MVP orthopedic care to our entire region. At Inland Orthopedics, our team is your team. Welcome back to the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast. We are now joined by the Assistant Athletic Director for Brand Engagement and Digital Strategy, Jerek Wolcott. Thanks for being here. How are you?
Oh, man, I get to hang out with Dennis Patchin on a beautiful morning here in Vandaland. It couldn't be better.
And it's not too hot. It's not 1,000,000 degrees out. This is what September days in the Pacific Northwest are supposed to be like.
Yeah, I was. I know a lot of our fans had a rough time on Saturday, but I just want everybody to know that I also had a rough time on Saturday. It was way too hot. I'm not built for 95 degrees in September. I'm not built for 95 degrees anyways, but especially in September. That's why I live in Idaho. But hopefully we can, the a little cooler weekend and really have a good time this weekend.
Well, I didn't dress appropriately. I had short sleeves on, but I had black. I mean, it's one of the colors, and we do that. But Trent, my broadcast partner, had a long sleeve shirt on, and so neither one of us was doing well as well. Let's talk. The reason we got you on here is to talk a little bit about the 50th anniversary and celebration that's coming up this weekend for the game. But I want to talk to you. I want to dial it back to last week, the Fightin' Taters. Let's just walk us through the genesis of that and how that all came about.
Well, it was really there was a lot of things that went into it, and it kind of all fit into place and worked really, really well. But there's a group on social media called Field Rush, and they're a little irreverent. They do a little some things that are a little maybe questionably,
pushing the boundaries,
pushing the envelope a little bit, pushing the boundaries. But they did what they thought was a fun thing where they did, hey, here's some alternate identities that some teams could have, and we were one of the teams, and they did the Fightin' Taters helmet. And a lot of the other ones were ones that were not going to be picked up by the schools involved. But for us, I think myself, our football staff, and Austin Christensen, our director of communications, we all kind of, and Jerek Peeler, our director of equipment, we all kind of got together and said, this is something that we could really kind of get behind. And but we also didn't want to take anything away from Field Rush there was their kind of idea. And so we partnered with them. Austin did a really good job on communicating with them. Shelby, our licensing guru, did a really good job of making sure that we built something where both us and Field Rush could benefit from it on the licensing side. And then we worked with our Learfield partners to get that game to be, it was already going to be Egg Weekend, and to get the Idaho Potato Commission to be a sponsor, and they were able to bring up the big Idaho potato truck trademark, and Spuddy Buddy. And so everything kind of fell together all for this weekend. And then we thought we would get a great reaction, but what we saw was just far beyond what we thought.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Were you surprised how crazy it got? Every national college football writer that I follow, and some of these guys are real sticks in the mud and really don't like anything that didn't happen before the invention of the wishbone. I mean, they were talking about it. And you got on College Game Day, there was a piece on that. I mean, I got to think you guys went, whoa, we didn't think this was going to take off like this.
We knew that it would gain some traction. I think we have a pretty good pulse on what college football fans like, and we are 100% willing to be a little irreverent, to be kind of have fun with things and not take ourselves too seriously, and really go that direction. We knew that it would be fun, but the response was far more than what we thought. We're waiting on some numbers right now, but the social media numbers from across the board, we saw over 200 million impressions. I mean, that's 2/3 of the population of the United States saw some sort of Idaho potato, fighting tater thing.
Yeah.
And so I think when you look at those numbers, and we're expecting, we did an early advertised value, and that's the thing, a lot of this stuff is fun, but there's strategy behind it, and it's important for our brand and for the University of Idaho's brand to get those impressions. We are fighting every day to get students onto this campus for enrollment. We're fighting every day to put us in a position to in recruiting for football players and for everybody else. And so just the response was unbelievable. We got a ton of eyeballs that we wouldn't have otherwise. We're not getting onto College Game Day without that. So for us, it really was something that far exceeded our expectations. And I know it didn't hit with everybody. I know that there's some fans that are more traditional that didn't like it, but we do have some things coming up this week and for the rest of the season that I think they will really get behind.
Well, and that's what I want to talk to you about. For me, the Fightin' Taters was cool. It was, and I know the importance of being on social media and that stuff, but to me, celebrating 50 years of the Kibbie Dome this Saturday, for a guy who's as old as I am, who remembers when they built this, I was a senior in high school when they built this. Junior and senior, this is cool to be able to celebrate 50 years of this building that is really more than a football stadium, and it has a life of its own in the college football world like some other stadiums don't.
Yeah, and this has been stuff that we've been working on for more than a year to really kind of try to blow this out of the park and blow this up in the same way. And we're really excited about some of the things that we have planned and some of the things that we've done already. This place is really special. For those of us that have been around it, I think I probably stepped foot in the Kibbie Dome. I think the first time was when I was in elementary school and my brothers were going to school here. And first game I ever went to in the Kibbie Dome was actually a basketball game in the Cowan Spectrum. It was 1990. Well, it was before the Cowan Spectrum was the Cowan Spectrum. It was in 1999, kind of random December, because it was on Christmas break, and random December basketball game against Iona that was on ESPN. And it was the students weren't here, and so we were sitting in where the student section would be, and I was going crazy in the background. I got on ESPN. It was just it's one of those core memories,
right,
of a place when I came, and then one of my brother's friends who he knew from church, was like the last guy on the bench, and they were up so much that he got in the game and hit a 3-pointer at the last second, and so like those are things that like I think every person has that memory of the Kibbie Dome.
The first time I came here, I saw a football game. My brother was a student here. I came up his freshman year, so that would have been the fall of '78. I saw a football game here, but the first game I covered as a member of the media was was a basketball game actually, and that was when the court was actually in the middle of the field, and there were 16,000 people here because it was the University of Idaho when Don Munson was coaching against Mike Montgomery's Montana Grizzlies, and just a wild atmosphere. You know, I always said people love to say there's not a bad seat in the house. Well, when the basketball court's in the middle, there's not a good seat in the house, but it didn't matter. People wanted to be there, and I think that's what people remember about this building. And there have been so many remarkable things in this Kibbie Dome and so many remarkable players who have played in this Kibbie Dome, and I'm glad that the university is celebrating 50 years. Now, I know you can't tell us everything you're going to do, but I know that that you guys put something out on social media on Tuesday, correct?
Yeah, we will have so this is being recorded on
Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
And so Tuesday afternoon, it's going to go to be announced to the players first, but we're going to have a special jersey reveal on Tuesday. That is something that's really special. It's something we worked on for a long, long time with our equipment staff and everybody. But it's going to be as close as we can get a copy of the 1975 jersey as we can. You know, obviously that team included John Yarno, who was an NFL player for almost a decade.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his jersey's in our Hall of Fame or on our wall. We've got Ken Schramm, who was a Major League Baseball pitcher, all-star pitcher for 10 years in the major leagues. We've got Dennis Erickson was on the coaching staff. We've got a couple other Division I head coaches that were players in Mike Kramer.
Yep.
And Chris Tormey were on that team. And so, and then, of course, everybody's favorite Vandal is Bill Fagerbacke, the voice of Patrick Starr, who was also on that team. And so, like, that team was not successful on the field. I think they were 4-4-1 or something. So not a super great team, but there's a lot of great Vandals on that team and a lot of other people that went on to success in their own fields, and so we want to celebrate that 50th anniversary, and this was an opportunity to do it, and a way to do that and tell that story of those people, because there were long stretches of time where in this dome the teams weren't the best, but we do have long stretches of where we had great teams. Dennis Erickson, John L. Smith, Chris Tormey, all coached really, really good teams.
Keith Gilbertson.
And
that run, yeah.
Back up. And then, we had 3 bowl teams in this. We have 2 semifinalist teams. We have, obviously the resurgence over the last few years with Jason Eck and the exciting things that we're doing here now. And I think, when it comes down to it, obviously we're 2 games in, but I think Thomas Ford Jr. is going to be in that list of those guys that we talked about. But then you look at on the other sports, you've got somebody like Don Munson who obviously is a Hall of Fame caliber coach that took a team to the Sweet 16 that played here. You've got Tara Vanderveer, who was one of our first head coaches in women and turned out to be the winningest head coach in women's basketball history. Is every Hall of Fame, you know what I mean? And she started her career. Her first head coaching job was at the University of Idaho, and she had games in the Kibbie Dome. So you look at some of the great coaches and players and people that have come through here, and that's really exciting on the athletic side. And then on the community side, we've had everything from, boat shows to concerts, big name concerts.
Let's start with the Lionel Hampton, the jazz festival that was in the dome and is really, there's a school of music is named after Lionel Hampton and what all of that meant. And for a time, that was one of the great jazz festivals in the world.
Yeah, and it's still great, and they've kind of shifted over the arena with its state-of-the-art infrastructure, and it's just built better to do that. But, that jazz festival continues to draw the best names in jazz, and obviously jazz as a kind of a genre is kind of taking a step back to some of the other stuff now, but just some of the amazing, talented artists that came through here, and then we've had everything from monster truck shows, rodeos, religious services. There was I remember when I was a kid growing up at LDS, they had a big conference in here with some general authorities from our church that came and talked, and there was 10,000, 15,000 people in here listening to that, and then you've got registration every year. They would do a rush registration on the dome floor, and you had to go sign up for your classes, and it was a madhouse before they got computers involved. But these are core memories that people have as students here, as members of the community that would participate in the jazz festival, or maybe come to a job fair, or maybe come to a boat show or a farm show or whatever else. It's really a special place that has impacted people's lives, and they have really great memories about coming here and enjoying this place as a community place.
Well, you think of all the athletes from all the different sports that have actually participated either in events or practice in there. I don't know if there's a team on campus that hasn't used that facility in some way, somehow. Even the golf team at points in time was using that. Track has used that. Tennis has used that. All kinds of things. So we appreciate you coming on, Jerek. Thanks for the time. I know the celebration on Saturday will be a lot of fun, and we appreciate you being here on the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast.
Yeah, we're really excited about it, and thanks for having me. There's going to be more stuff coming throughout the week and throughout the months, and with all of our other sports too. So we're really excited about this and grateful to have such a wonderful facility.
Today's Vandal Insider Podcast is presented by Inland Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine Clinic of Moscow and Pullman. As the Vandals team physician, orthopedic surgeon Dr. Matt Taylor cares for elite athletes, weekend warriors, and everyone in between. Let the team that takes care of the Vandals take care of you. Welcome back to the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast. Time now to talk a little women's soccer with a red-hot goal scorer in Calli Chiarelli, who joins us. Thanks for being here. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. You are a striker, so that's what they pay you your scholarship for is to score goals, right?
Yes, they do.
How did you? Because there's so many different positions on a soccer field. There's true defenders. There's midfielders who defend and attack. There's strikers who may not run past the center line because that's their job. There's keepers. How did you wind up front?
So I actually started as a defender originally. So at my old school that I transferred from, I was an outside back, and I was a very attack-minded outside back. I always liked to go up the field and get into the attack, send crosses in, and just help out. And when I compiled my highlight reel to be here, I sent it to Jeremy, and when I came on my visit, he said, "I don't know what I'm going to do with you yet, but I think you're going to be a striker for me." So one practice, he just randomly put me up top, and it's kind of stuck ever since.
Had you ever played that at the club level, at the high school level, anywhere?
A couple times in summer league, I got put out wide as a winger, and it was a switch for me for sure. But I played it a couple times, but it was not my true position.
Okay, so you have the mind of a defender, I'm sure, still to this day. How difficult is it to play the position that you really have never played before? Or is it just one of those, I know this is how I play, this is where I'm supposed to play, this is what I'm supposed to do, and that's easy?
I actually feel so much more comfortable up at the striker position, and having my background in defending and defense and playing it for as long as I have is very helpful when it comes to the press and the attack part of being a striker. We at Idaho, we really like to have a high press, and we work on it a lot. And I will say that my 1v1 defending and just having those background skills is super useful in the press. And I just really like being up top. I see the game so much better, and I understand the tactics of it.
You grew up just outside of Chicago. You went originally to Southern Illinois University in Evansville, and now all of a sudden you're here at the University of Idaho. How in the world did you wind up out here?
When I was in the transfer portal, I emailed a bunch of schools. I looked at schools that were losing a lot of girls and just were kind of in need of players, and I just emailed as many people as I could. And I just had this, so one of my teammates here, she's also from the Chicago area. We went to the same high school together, and I knew she was at this program, and I was wondering how she was doing out here. So I just kind of looked at the school, looked at the roster out of curiosity, just for fun. And I saw that they were losing a lot of girls, and I just had this feeling I should email this school. So sure enough, I emailed the school, and about 20 minutes after the portal opened, I get a response back from them, and my heart it felt right to be communicating with this school. And when I came on my visit here, I fell in love with the campus and never looked back.
Basie Shannon is your former high school teammate.
Yes.
So what did she tell you? Was she helpful in the transition here, or was it like, I've already kind of decided this is a place and she just added on top of it?
So Basie and I were in communication a little bit when I was in the portal. She was just kind of DMing me, and we were just talking a little bit. She's always been a super nice person. Like, I knew her sort of in high school. We were never in the same friend group, but I knew of her. She just added on, and I actually, when I was doing a virtual tour with Jeremy, he was walking around campus on Zoom, and sure enough, Basie's right there, and it was just really nice to see a familiar face here.
Obviously, playing close to home, mom and dad get to see you play, and family, friends, that kind of stuff. What was the reaction in your friend group, your family group, when you said, I'm going to Idaho, see ya?
My parents have always been super supportive of me, and they are actually one of the biggest reasons why I am here. They've been super helpful, and they'll always support me no matter where I go. And for them, their biggest thing is they know I'm happy here, so they are happy for me as well. Fortunately, we do have ESPN Plus, and that does exist, so they still are able to stream all the games if they can't always be here.
So they're okay with you coming here because they turned your room into something, right? Right?
I don't know what they did with my room.
Yeah, yeah. That's sometimes when parents are happy to see you go far, far away. They turn your room into something. Talk about your experience playing here. You're playing in a dome. You're playing on turf. I don't know what you played at in Evansville. How has the transition been to where you play?
So at Edwardsville, we were also on turf, but it was outside, so it's kind of a transition coming to the dome. It's such a cool environment to play inside the dome, though, and just have Kibbie Dome as home. Obviously the environment when we played Wazoo here was electric, and it was probably the most fun I've ever had playing a soccer game before. It just felt great to have all these people supporting you and being around you. I really, really like playing in the Kibbie Dome. It did take a little bit to getting used to it first. That good old Kibbie cough got to me at the start there, but now I think I'm used to it, and I love Kibbie Dome and calling it home.
Let me ask you about, obviously, very athletic person to be able to play the sport of soccer, so I'm sure that you played a lot of different sports growing up. How was soccer what you decided to make the number one sport?
So actually, funny story about that. So I used to dance, and I swam competitively from 7 to 15, and then I also played water polo in high school. Don't know why I did that one, but it was worth it. So when I was 10, I had a soccer game and a dance recital on the same exact day. And I had to leave at half to go to my dance recital. I marched across the field to my mom, and I yelled at her, and I was like, I am not leaving this game. I'm quitting dance. So I quit dance right on the spot. So I just kind of always known in my heart that soccer is something that I want to do. And then when I broke my hip at 13 and I wasn't able to play my club season, I knew immediately right then and there that this is what I want to do in college, and this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
How hard was that to be having your sport taken away from you at the age of 13?
It was awful, but I had a lot of people to rely on around me. It was a long recovery, but I came back stronger from it, and I came back more determined, and that was definitely the point where I decided in my life, I'm taking this and I'm making something of it.
Obviously, here that, Big Sky teams, you got to win the tournament to get to the NCAA tournament. There's not a lot of at-large bids that have ever come from this conference. So how is your non-conference season, do you think, preparing you for the Big Sky Conference season?
I think that the more wins that we can get in the non-conference, the better the team, like the energy of the team will be going into Big Sky. We've had our ups and downs so far this season, but I believe as a team that we are coming back from it, and our communication and our just tight-knit group is really helping us stick together and help with these wins. Obviously, we're about to go on the road here tomorrow, actually. We're gone for 5 days. And I think that just the energy and the excitement of the team, like to go on the road and to get 2 road wins, is really helping us stay on top and stay confident in ourselves.
Recording this interview on Tuesday is when we're recording the interview, and the Vandals are on the road as Calli said, as they are at Grand Canyon, which is in Phoenix. That'll be a Thursday match, a 7 o'clock match. Thank goodness for that. It's not going to be played at 1 in the afternoon. And then Saturday at 11 a.m. in Bakersfield, that will be hot as well. So I don't know, how much of the West did you know before you came out here? I mean, you're playing a lot of matches in the West, Big Skies in the West. Are all these places like new to you, new town to you, new city to you?
So before coming on my visit here at Idaho, I'd never been to Washington, Idaho. I've still never been to Montana, never been to Utah. So a lot of the states that we're going to travel to are new for me, and a lot of the areas that we're going are also new for me as well. I've been out to California a couple times just for some ECNL showcases and whatnot, bunch of club stuff, but most of the West is pretty much new for me.
Did you have to look on a map to find out where Moscow was? It's okay, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who would have to look on a map to find out where you grew up in.
Yes, for sure. I heard of Moscow, Idaho when I started looking at the University of Idaho, and I had to open Google Maps on my phone and be like, okay, where in relation to me is that? And it was super, super far away.
Yeah, it's not a day drive. That's for sure. All right, what are you studying when soccer is over, whenever that might be? What do you want to do? What do you want to, or as I like to say, what do you want to be?
So I'm exercise kinesiology on the pre-physical therapy track right now. I don't actually know what I want to do with my degree, but something along the lines of something with the heart. I'm very interested in like cardiology and cardiac rehab, and when I took anatomy 2 last semester, the heart was by far the most fascinating part of that course. I do have aspirations to go professional after college though, so that is my ultimate goal, and obviously I need a degree because if it doesn't plan out my way, then I'm going to have my degree. So
how did that, you're in a general area now, you've kind of defined it to the heart, but how did you get to the general area?
So I actually started college as a integrative biology major, which kind of means you can do whatever you want with it. So I wanted to be a marine biologist originally when I came to school. I took 1 week of chemistry 1 and I freaked out and said, I can't do this anymore. So I talked to my mom and I talked to her for several hours, and we both came to the consensus that I would be very good working with other athletes like me, which led me to get into the athletic training major. So I switched my paths and I started focusing on athletic training. Then I kind of started talking and just shadowing people, and I shadowed strength coaches and other athletic trainers, and I just asked a lot of questions as I took a course on just general exercise kinesiology majors. And it kind of led me down the path to physical therapy. And I'm on the track right now because I'm pretty indecisive. So if I do decide to switch my major again, then I have all the requirements needed to go to physical therapy school.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with changing your mind when you're as young as you are. That certainly happens. Do you think the fact that you broke your hip at 13 and had to go through this long rehabilitation, do you think that maybe planted a seed somewhere in your head?
It definitely did. I also broke my collarbone my freshman year of college, and I had surgery with that. And that, just going through that rehab and that process and watching like all the people who helped me get back to where I wanted to be and get actually even further ahead of where I was, I wanted to do the same thing for people and other athletes that trainers, coaches, strength stat, physical therapists have done for me. I want to give back to other athletes the way I've been given.
Numbers are always interesting to me, that what an athlete chooses to wear or gets assigned to wear. You wear 91, which is a very unusual soccer number. Tell us the genesis of where that came from, because I know they just didn't hand you 91, because that's usually on a club team, that means you're on the fourth team when you get 91. So where's 91 come from?
So my older brother played college and football. Football in college. English.
It's okay. It's all right. It's still early this morning.
Yeah. And he was the kicker there, and he wore number 91. And his team won 2 championships. And there's just like that superstition of maybe it's a lucky number. And also, for as long as I can remember, every time he's gotten a number, I've had the number after him. And it's just really cool to be wearing the same number in college that he did.
Wow. That's wild. So 91, was it 91 in high school, in club?
No, it was 27 in club, and then it was 27 at my old school. And when I transferred here, I just needed a new number, new start.
That's really cool. That is really. How's your brother feel about that?
He loves it. He actually keeps texting me. He's been watching the game, so when he's seen the couple goals I've scored, he keeps texting me, 91 never dies.
He's living through you at this point in time, isn't he?
Yeah.
Send him a bill for that kind of stuff. Calli, we appreciate the time. Good luck this week on your 2 road games. The Big Sky season not too far away. Thanks for coming on and sharing some time with us, and we appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
This Vandal Insider podcast is presented by Inland Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine Clinic of Moscow and Pullman. When he's not caring for the Vandals as team physician, orthopedic surgeon Dr. Matt Taylor provides the same MVP orthopedics care to our entire region. At Inland Orthopedics, our team is your team. Julia Goodson coming in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Idaho Vandal Insider podcast. We are now joined by the newest coach on the Idaho Athletic Department, Julia Goodson, who takes over the women's golf program. Julia, thanks for being here. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm excellent. 2 weeks on the job. That's a bit of a whirlwind with the season starting in less than a week.
A little bit, yeah. It's been a lot, but I feel like I had an easy transition. It was quick, but I feel like it's smooth, and I'm getting to know the girls, and we'll be leaving here on Saturday, so we kind of get right into it.
Let me ask you, for no other reason than you were at Washington State and taking this job, so obviously you're familiar with the area, you're familiar with the golf courses. How familiar were you with the players and the program here, even though you weren't part of the program, you were only 8 miles away?
I mean, I was aware. I knew the old head coach, and I would meet up with her, and so I was aware of the program, the situation, and so when this job came available, I was like, wow, this is great. Like, this is a perfect opportunity for me, and just being so close to the area. And I had actually recruited one of the girls on the team here at Idaho, so I knew her, and I was like, well, this should be an easy transition, and I like the department values and all that, so everything just kind of aligned.
You've been an assistant coach before. You've played college golf at a very high level. Being a head coach, what are the dynamics there that you need to make sure that you're doing?
I'd say just organization, leadership, that really comes into play. I mean, as an assistant coach, you're more of on the fun side of things, and just kind of hyping up the players and helping out the head coach as much as possible. But in a head coaching role, it's much more responsibility with the whole season, the program, and really getting to plan that out.
Okay, so I don't know you at all. This is our first meeting. Are you a fun person now that has to figure out how to dial it back? Or when you were an assistant, was the fun kind of, I'd rather be the head coach, leadership kind of a thing? How are you fitting in this role? Is this better made for you, or are you having to try and figure that out?
So I'd always heard that, like, the transition from assistant to head, like, you change very drastically. Like, it's almost like you lose your fun side and you have to make all the bad decisions. But in my coaching philosophy, I don't think that that has to be. So I'm naturally a very fun person, very energetic, very positive, and I'd like to continue to be that as a head coach. It doesn't have to always be serious. Yes, I can set high expectations, but we can also have a good time doing it.
The average coach that the people who listen to this podcast see are either football coaches or basketball coaches. Okay, those are the most publicized things, and they see coaches screaming and yelling on the sidelines and not very happy and stomping around and doing those kind of things. How much different is that than what you're doing as a golf coach? I don't see a lot of golf coaches screaming and yelling.
No, it's not very loud out there, that's for sure. If anything, it's more so like strategy, and especially with golf because it's such a mental game. I'd say as a coach, you have to stay positive when you're out there, because if you get on the players too much or in too harsh of a way, then it can have a negative effect, I'd say, and they can just kind of slowly go downhill after that.
Golf is one of those college sports that is a team sport, yet it's still an individual sport. Does that make it more difficult to coach or maybe easier to coach?
I mean, I think just growing up and being a player and being around the golf atmosphere, like, I don't find it hard to coach because that's all I've ever known. Yes, it is an individual sport, but at the end of the day, you're playing for a team. And I think just like making sure that the players take care of themselves and do what they need to do to succeed will then, in the end, help the team.
There are many paths for a college golfer when their eligibility is over. Turn professional, go to work at a golf club as a PGA professional, or get into coaching at some level. Why did you choose coaching as opposed to the other paths that were open to you?
Well, I had a lot of teammates and my sister who actually played on the Symetra Tour, the tour below the LPGA, and I saw that path, and while it's very glorified on TV and it's awesome, it's a grind. And financially, you have to have a lot of sponsors or help along the way. And so at that point in my life, like just seeing my teammates and my sister go through it, I knew that it was a dream and I knew that I could pursue it, but I was like, realistically, I would much rather help other players and grow the game of golf.
You played at a high level, played at Kent State. I mean, that's a really good golf program. The situation, did you ever think you'd be a coach when you were playing in college? Because I don't think a lot of athletes think about that no matter what their sport. They're always thinking, I'm going to play at the next level. I'm going to play professional wherever that might be or that, and don't think about coaching until it's like, well, that's the only way I can stay involved. How did you jump into the coaching world? Where did that transition hit you?
So I had always had my sights set on the LPGA, but I think also my dad, he's a PGA teaching professional at a country club. And growing up there and working there, I was involved in the junior programs. And I think that's kind of where it started, where I would work with the kids, and I really loved to see them improve and how excited they were. And then just, I guess, being a teammate in college, like I would always kind of take the freshmen under my wing or try to help them out. And I just have always had that inner coach in me, I guess. And I never really realized it until it came to that point where I was like, what about coaching? Because I didn't think about it in college.
Yeah. What was easier, teaching 10 to 12-year-olds or college students? What's the easier one to do?
Oh, I think that depends on the day. For sure. But no, they both have their pros and cons. And as long as you have fun with it, I think they're both great.
Let's talk a little bit about your team. I mean, obviously 2 weeks on the job now, and you're playing. We're recording this on a Tuesday. You're playing next Monday in Bozeman. How well do you know your team? How well can you put a team together? I mean, how does that path happen when you barely know everybody's name?
Yeah, so I just jumping in these first 2 weeks, I've really made it a priority to get to know my players and meet with them, and even with practices, just asking lots of questions. And I think that's the best way to soak up information and to learn about their games. Also, just watching them play for qualifiers. I kind of set up qualifiers for this first tournament as the top 5 go, because I don't know their games.
Right.
So they need to show me, let the scores speak for themselves. So that's kind of how I'm going about this first tournament. But I feel like just after watching them for 5 rounds on the golf course that I've gotten to know how they play, and I'm very pleasantly surprised with where we're at as a team.
Obviously, taking over such a late date, you didn't have any chance to recruit any athletes or get those people in. How do you start developing those things, and how does that? Where now do you start going? Because it's almost like you took over, and somebody handed you the keys to the car and says, "We got a race here in a week." I don't know the course. I don't know the other drivers. It's almost like that. So, how does the recruiting process start, and where does that take you?
Yeah, so thankfully, the previous head coach, she has left things in a great spot. We have 2 commits for 2026, and I reached out to them, and I looked at their scores and did some research, and I trust that the previous head coach had good judgment with these players. So for the 26 class, we're set up, and then for the 27, I've already started to kind of dive in and look at just locally, and then I also have a lot of connections just growing up in the golf community with golf coaches in Canada, or like my former head coaches, they have connections in Thailand, so recruiting internationally. And I think it's just about reaching out and doing some research, and then finding those players that you think will fit in the program.
Do you think being already in the North, you grew up in Ohio, but being in the Northwest, do you think that makes maybe the recruiting easier because you're not necessarily an unfamiliar face, especially to the kids in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, I think just having that background knowledge of being a northern school and playing at a northern school, it's different, definitely. So I think being in this position with my experience, I'm able to better tell the story of what it's going to be like at Idaho.
The Idaho Vandal women's golf team will hit the road for their first match of the fall season as they will head to Bozeman, Montana for a tournament that starts on Monday and Tuesday, the Yellowstone Collegiate Invitational at the Riverside Country Club in Bozeman. Julia Goodson joining us here on the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Good luck with your new job, and we appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast. Thanks to our guests joining us today. And don't forget to join us each Tuesday night for more Vandals talk from the Idaho Vandal Coaches Show. That's Tuesday night live from 42 Bar Kitchen at 7 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Mountain Time on the Idaho Vandal Radio Network. I'm Dennis Patchin saying thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week for another edition of the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast.